So students, from today we are going to study organic chemistry for class 11th. It will be helpful for your NEET exam. It will be helpful for your JEE Mains and JEE Prelims examinations and JEE Advanced examination. It will be also helpful for your AIMS examination, because in this part of organic chemistry we are going to solve all types of questions which are based on competitive exams, which are asked in competitive exams. And we will also be doing some difficult questions over here which have been asked in GATE exams as well. It's very important to understand these basics of organic chemistry if you want to solve all types of questions in the coming organic chemistry in class 12th for your BSc honors and for your higher exams. So for that you have to clear concepts over here, because I am going to start organic chemistry from basics. So let us start organic compounds. We are starting from organic compounds. Organic compounds. Basically we will divide these organic compounds, that's classification. We classify these organic compounds into two main classes. These two classes are acyclic organic compounds, acyclic compounds and cyclic compounds. We classify organic compounds into two classes, acyclic compounds and cyclic compounds. Now acyclic compounds are open chain compounds. These are open chain compounds. These are open chain compounds. These acyclic compounds are further classified into two classes. That is, they are hydrocarbons. They are classified into two classes. Those open chain compounds which contain only sigma bonds or only single bonds, we call them alkanes. Alkanes, and the derivatives of functional groups and their derivatives. Alkanes which contain only sigma bonds. They contain only sigma bonds. Acyclic compounds containing only sigma bonds. Alkanes are examples. And acyclic compounds which either contain double bond, at least one double bond, or at least one triple bond, or they may contain at least one double bond or at least one triple bond. Now see, if we have only sigma bonds, for example, we have CH3, CH2 and CH3. Now this compound is known as propan. You know that. We will discuss nomenclature of compounds. It's known as propan. These are alkanes. They are given the name N. And here we have alkene. This is alkene. The double bonded compound is alkene derivative. And this is alkyne. This one is enine. This is enine. It contains alkene, that's ene, and triple bond ine, that's ine. For example, in this case we have an example CH2 double bond CH2. And in this case we have a very simple example CH triple bond CH. Its common name is acetylene and its common name is ethylene. Its common name is ethylene. For example, here we have, for example, CH2 double bond CH single bond CH single bond CH2 single bond C triple bond CH. Now here we have a double bond as well as triple bond. It will be enine. It contains 5 carbon atoms, therefore it's prop enine. We'll see its nomenclature later. This is the classification of acyclic organic compounds. Now cyclic organic compounds, we classify them into two categories. These may be homocyclic compounds. Homocyclic. By homocyclic we mean that they are made up of only carbon atoms. For example, we have cyclopropane, only made up of carbon atoms. Homocyclic compound, for example, we have cyclohexane. For example, we have cyclopentane. For example, we have cyclopropane. For example, we have cyclobutane. Or we may have cyclic compounds with double bonds. For example, we have benzene. For example, we have this type of compound. This type of compound, cyclobutadiene. And these may be heterocyclic as well. Heterocyclic means They are cyclic, which contain a heteroatom. They contain heteroatom. Now, what is heteroatom? Heteroatom usually is oxygen or sulfur or nitrogen. We have a cyclic compound. In this cyclic compound, at least one carbon atom is replaced by heteroatom. That's oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen. For example, in this case, cyclohexane, we are replacing one carbon atom by nitrogen atom. This becomes a heterocyclic compound. We'll see their nomenclature. For example, we have this type of compound, cyclopentane, and we replace one carbon atom by oxygen atom. It becomes a heterocyclic compound. Now these cyclic compounds, they are further classified into aromatic and non-aromatic compounds. We will not discuss here aromaticity or non-aromaticity, because once we start GOC, we will separately deal with aromaticity and non-aromaticity or anti-aromatic compounds. This is simply the classification of compounds. Now the second important part of this of our basics is representation of organic compound. How can we represent this organic compound? What is the method of representation of organic compounds? Methods of representation of organic compound. That's representation of organic compounds. Representation of organic compounds. How we are going to represent organic compounds on this whiteboard or on a plane of paper? Organic compounds. How we are going to represent organic compounds? There are certain formulas which we need to use to represent organic compound. First is extended form. Extended form. In extended form, what we have to do, we have to show all bonds. We have to show all bonds. Show all bonds. Remember that carbon is tetravalent. In extended form, we have to show all bonds. For example, if we have to represent extended form of ethane, ethane contains 2 carbon atoms and each carbon atom is tetravalent, therefore there should be 3 more bonds bonded to hydrogen. Each and every bond is shown in extended form. This is the extended form of ethane molecule. This is extended form. Extended form. Similarly, for example, if we have propane molecule, CH3 single bond CH2 single bond CH3, its extended form will be C. One hydrogen, one more hydrogen, one more hydrogen, because carbon is tetravalent, so that valency satisfy hydrogen, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen. This is extended form. Similarly, if we represent the extended form of cyclohexane, this is cyclohexane. Its extended form will be represented like this. Each point represents carbon atom. This is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon, carbon, carbon and carbon. Now carbon is tetravalent, 2 hydrogen atoms over here, 2 hydrogen atoms over here, 2 hydrogen atoms over here. To satisfy the valency, we introduce over here hydrogen atoms. Now this represents extended form of cyclohexane. This is one method of representation of organic compound, that's called extended form. Now second method is bond line notation method. Second method is bond line notation method. Second representation is bond line notation. Bond line notation. In bond line notation, what we are going to do, the points and lines represent the bonds. The points, all the points represent carbon atoms. Points represent carbon atoms. Carbon atoms. Points will represent your carbon atoms. For example, we have this type of compound. The point over here, this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, this point. They will represent carbon atoms. That's why it's called bond line notation. The points represent carbon atoms and these carbon atoms are joined by lines. That's why it's called bond line notation. Now see, if we have to change it into extended form, this is bond line form, change it into extended form. Now this is carbon, and this is carbon, and this is carbon. To this carbon, 1, 2, 3 carbons are attached. This is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon. Now we have to satisfy these carbons with hydrogens so that their valency may be satisfied. Carbon is tetravalent, we need to use 3 hydrogens over here. 1, 2, we use 2 hydrogens, 1 and 2, 2 hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4, no hydrogen is required here. 1, we use 3 hydrogens. 1, we can use 3 hydrogens. 1, we use 3 hydrogens. This is called, it is extended form, or we can use this extended form like this. This is carbon, hydrogen, 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 single bond, hydrogen, hydrogen, single bond, hydrogen, hydrogen, single bond, carbon, hydrogen, 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 carbon, hydrogen, 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 carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. This is extended form. What we have done, we have converted bond line notation into extended form. Now the questions may be asked like this. You are given 3 or 4 bond line notations and you have converted them into extended form. Now let us convert certain bond line notations into extended form. Let us take this type of compound. This is a compound, we have to change it into extended form. This is bond line notation. Bond line notation. We are not naming this compound yet because we have not understood yet nomenclature. Now see, bond line notation means the points represent the carbon atoms. This point, this point, this point, they represent the carbon atoms. Carbon, 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 and carbon. Now see, to this carbon there is one more carbon attached, and to this carbon there are 3 other carbon atoms. Unless it is mentioned the group over here, you have to treat it as carbon atom. This is carbon, carbon, and carbon. And over here this is also attached to carbon, and this is further attached to 3 other carbon atoms. Now see what we have to do. We have to satisfy valency. Satisfy the valency of this carbon. It has 1, 2, 3 bonds, therefore 1 hydrogen atom. It has 1, 2, 3 bonds, therefore 1 hydrogen atom. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, no hydrogen atom. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 hydrogen atom. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 hydrogen atom. 1, 2, 3, 4, no hydrogen atom. Now this 1, 2, 3, 4, no hydrogen atom. Over here, this is 1 bond and we have 3 hydrogen atoms. This is bond line notation. This is extended form. 1 bond, we have 3 hydrogens. This is 1, this is second, this is third. 1, this is 1, this is second, this is third. And here we have, this is 1, this is second, this is third, and fourth hydrogen, 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 and fourth hydrogen, 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 and fourth. This will become its extended form. Now it's important to remember to represent molecules in bond line notation, because it takes less space to represent molecules in bond line notation. Let us do few more questions to represent molecules in bond line notation. Now represent this molecule into bond line notation. We are given a molecule CH3, CH, CH3, C double bond O, single bond CH, single bond CH3, single bond CH3 OH. You have to represent this molecule into bond line notation. Now take this carbon atom. This is 1 carbon atom. Attach it to other carbon atom. This is first carbon atom. That's 1. Let us number it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3, carbon number 4, and carbon number 5. At carbon number 2 we have methyl group. Over here we have methyl group. And at carbon number 3 we have double bond O. And at carbon number 4 we have CH2OH. Means this is C, this is OH. And at carbon number 5 we have CH3. This will be it as bond line notation. Now it's easy to represent a molecule in bond line notation. One more important representation is representation in 3D plan. Representation in 3D. Representation of molecule. Representation of molecule in 3D. This will be useful to we people once we start stereochemistry. For example, if we have a carbon atom, to this carbon atom we have hydrogen attached over here, and to this carbon we have OH group attached over here, and we have CH3 group attached over here, and we have chlorine group attached over here. Now how come we know that? How come we know that this is a carbon, it lies in the plane, and on this plane there is a group present at this atom, at this side, and one more at over here, means two groups are present in the plane. One group is present above the plane and the other group is present below the plane. How can we know on this whiteboard that which group is above the plane and which group is below the plane? Now see, in this case we use notations like this. This is solid wedge line. This is called solid wedge line. Solid wedge line represents group above the plane. It represents group above plane. It represents group above the plane. And if we have dashed wedge line, this is called dashed wedge line. It represents dashed wedge line. It represents group below the plane. It represents group below plane. And normal line is like this or this or this. They represent groups in the plane. Groups or atoms in the plane. Groups or atoms in the plane. Now see, if I write this structure like this, this is carbon. To this carbon I have here attached hydrogen, and here I have attached chlorine, and here I have attached chlorine, and here I have attached chlorine. This is hydrogen, this is chlorine, and this is methyl group, and this is my OH group. Now see, this is a molecule. The molecule lies in the plane. This and this is normal line, normal single line. It represents group in the plane. Means the molecule, if the molecule is in the plane, then OH group and CH3 group, they are in the plane. OH group and CH3 group, they are in the plane. And this group represents, this line represents group above the plane. Therefore, chlorine is above the plane. Chlorine is above the plane, and hydrogen represents the group which is below the plane. Hydrogen is below the plane. Now see, if I look at this molecule, I can see this carbon atom, central carbon atom, and the group which is in the plane, that's OH, and the group which is in the plane, that is CH3, and the group which is above the plane, that is Cl. I cannot visualize this group which is below the plane. I can't view this group which is below the plane. Now see what happens. This is a whiteboard. On this whiteboard I am drawing this molecule. This is my carbon, and this carbon contains CH3. It contains OH. These two groups are in the plane. There are two other groups. One is chlorine. This line represents above the plane, means it is protruding out of this whiteboard. The chlorine atom is protruding out of this whiteboard, and hydrogen is the group which is below the plane. Hydrogen is behind this whiteboard. Hydrogen is behind this whiteboard. This is three-dimensional representation. Now this is representation of organic compound. Solid wedge line will show that the group is present above the plane. Dashed wedge line will show that the group is present below the plane, and normal lines will show that the groups are present in the plane. Now see, we are going to define one more important concept over here, that is degree of carbon. Degree of carbon. By degree of carbon, what I mean, in organic chemistry we will usually overcome this term, this degree of carbon. We have different degrees of carbon. We have primary carbon. Usually we called it 1 degree carbon. We have secondary carbon. We called it 2 degree, and we have tertiary carbon. We called it 3 degree, and we have quaternary carbon. It's called 4 degree carbon. Now let us understand the concept of degree of carbon by taking example like this. This is CH3, this is CH, and this is CH3. This is single bond CH2. This is single bond C, CH3, CH3, CH3. This is commonly known as isooctane. Now we have to understood that here the degree, the different carbon atoms have what type of degree. Which carbon is primary, which is secondary, which is tertiary. Now see, primary carbon is one which is directly attached to only one other carbon atom. Carbon which is directly attached to only one carbon atom, we called this carbon atom primary. If it is directly attached to only one carbon atom. Now see, this is a carbon atom. This carbon is directly attached to only this carbon atom. Only one carbon atom. It will be primary. This carbon atom is directly attached to, word directly is very important. It is directly attached to only one carbon atom. We called it primary. This carbon atom is directly attached to only one carbon atom. It will be primary. This carbon atom is directly attached to only one carbon atom. It will be primary. This carbon is directly attached to only one carbon atom. It will be primary. So primary carbon atoms are those carbon atoms which are directly attached to only one carbon atom. And secondary carbon atoms are those in which carbon is directly attached to two carbon atoms. Word directly is important. Carbon is directly attached to two carbon atoms. Now see, this carbon atom, it is directly attached to how many carbon atoms? 1, 2 and 3. It will not be secondary. See, this carbon atom, it is directly attached to 1 and 2 carbon atoms. Therefore, this is secondary or 2-degree carbon atom. Secondary carbon atom is one in which carbon is directly attached to two carbon atoms. Now tertiary carbon atom is that in which carbon is directly attached to three carbon atoms. Now see, this carbon atom, it is directly attached to this carbon atom 1, directly attached to this carbon atom 2, directly attached to this carbon atom. Therefore, it is 3-degree carbon atom. Now quaternary carbon is in which carbon is directly attached to four other carbon atoms. Carbon is directly attached to 1, to second, to third, to fourth. Therefore, this is 4-degree carbon. Now classify the following into primary, secondary and tertiary carbon atoms. Now let us do question. Classify the following into primary, secondary and tertiary carbon atoms. We have CH3, CH2, CH3, CH3. Tell me what is the degree of this carbon. This carbon is directly attached to only one carbon atom, therefore it is primary. What is the degree of this carbon? This carbon is directly attached to only one carbon, therefore it is primary. Now what about this CH2, CH3, CH3? This carbon is directly attached to one carbon atom and to one carbon atom, therefore it is 2 degree. This carbon is directly attached to only one carbon atom, it is 1 degree. This carbon is directly attached to only one carbon atom, it is 1 degree. Now what about this CH3, 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 and we have H over here. This carbon is directly attached to 1, directly attached second, directly attached third, therefore it is 3 degree. This carbon is directly attached to only 1, therefore it is 1 degree. This carbon is directly attached to 1 degree. And this carbon is directly attached to 1, therefore it is 1 degree carbon atom. Now see, we have discussed over here degree of carbon atom. Tell me now, if we have compound like this, what is the degree of carbon atoms in this? Now see, this is bond line notation. This is carbon, 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 this is carbon. The points represent the carbon atoms, unless it is shown over here that a group is here. Now see, this carbon atom, this carbon is directly attached to only one carbon atom, it's primary. This is directly attached to only one carbon atom, primary. This carbon is directly attached to 1, 2 and 3, it is tertiary. This carbon is directly attached to 1 and 2, it is 2 degree. This carbon is directly attached to 1, 2 and 3, it is 3 degree. This carbon is directly attached to 1, 2 and 3, it is 3 degree carbon. Now let us see one more example. Let us take one more example. Now see, what is the degree of carbon over here? This is carbon, 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 this is carbon. This carbon is directly attached to only one, it is 1 degree. This carbon is directly attached to only 1 degree. This carbon is directly attached to 2, it is directly attached to 1, 2 and 3, it is 3 degree. This carbon 1, 2 and 3, it is 3 degree. This carbon only 1, it is 1 degree. Now this carbon only directly attached to 1, it is 1 degree. This carbon 1, 2 and 3, it is 3 degree. This carbon directly attached to only one carbon atom. On the other side it is attached to oxygen. Oxygen does not matter, therefore it is 1 degree. Now this is how we discuss degree of carbon atoms. It's very important in most of the questions in organic, most of the questions of competitive exams are based on this concept. We will discuss those concepts and we will see how we will use this degree of carbon there. Now one more important point, let me check the length of the video first. Now one more important point is degree of unsaturation or double bond equivalent. This is very important. A double bond, we are starting from basics, हम बहुत ही basic से start कर रहे हैं so that you may not face any problems in the coming lectures. This is double bond equivalent. Double bond equivalent, it's commonly known as DBE, double bond equivalent. What's the utility of this double bond equivalent and how we can use this double bond equivalent? Double bond equivalent is used to know that how many pi bonds, number of pi bonds are rings in a compound. If you are given a molecular formula, you are given a molecular formula and you have to determine how many pi bonds, double bonds or triple bonds, and how many rings are present in a compound, you can determine using double bond equivalent formula. Now the formula for double bond equivalent is dB is equal to C plus 1, that is number of carbon atoms plus 1, minus into H plus X minus N divided by 2. What's H? Number of hydrogen atoms in a compound. What's X? Halogen. X stands for fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. And what is N? N is the nitrogen atom. How many carbon atoms are there? We have to substitute the value over here. How many halogens are there? We have to substitute value. How many nitrogen atoms are there? We have to substitute value to determine dBE. For example, let us do certain questions on this. For example, हमारे पास में we are given a certain compound and we are asked what is the dBE of this compound. We are given a compound like this. We have a compound like C6H6. We are given a compound C6H6. We have to determine dBE of this compound. dBE of this compound. Now dBE will be equal to, what is the number of carbon atoms? 6. Therefore it is 6 plus 1 minus into, what is the number of hydrogen? 6. What is the number of halogens? There is no halogen, that is 0. What is the number of nitrogen? There is no nitrogen, that is 0, divided by 2. That means 0 and 0 we have not to write over here. 2 1s are, 2 3s are. That is 7 minus 3, that is 4. Means there are 4 unsaturations present. 4 unsaturations means either there are 4 pi bonds, either there are 4 double bonds, or there are 3 double bonds and a ring. 3 double bonds and a ring. Now we know that when we have 6 carbon atoms are like this. In these 6 carbon atoms we can fix how many bonds? 3. 3 bonds represent 3 unsaturation and 1 ring represents 4th unsaturation. We can determine number of pi bonds and number of rings. Therefore this compound contains 3 pi bonds and 1 ring plus 1 ring, that is benzene. We can determine molecular formula of other compounds as well. Now let us determine C6H6O. Let us determine structure of this compound, how many pi bonds or rings are there. C6H6O. Not C6, C3H6O. C3H6O. Now determine dBE, that is C plus 1 minus into hydrogen plus halogen minus nitrogen divided by 2. What is C? Number of carbon atoms, that is 3 plus 1 minus, what are the number of hydrogen atoms? We have 6. What is the number of halogen? We have 0. What is the number of nitrogen? We have 0 and divided by 2. That is 3 plus 1 4 minus 2 3s are 3 is equal to 1. There should be one unsaturation. That one unsaturation is like this, CH3, C double bond O, CH3. This is one pi bond which is present over here. Now you cannot determine the whole structure using this. You can just get a clue how many pi bonds or how many rings are present there. To determine the structure, you need other spectroscopic techniques. We will see later on. We will deal with those also. But here we can come to know that the molecule, that the compound possesses either a double bond or a ring. This is how we can determine DBE. I am finishing this lecture over here, and next lecture we will start nomenclature of these organic compounds. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and share this channel so that I will get motivated more and more. I'll bring for you more and more best lectures, and so that you may compete in any level of competitive exam. I hope I can give you very best for your future exams. Thank you for watching this video.